They still call me the Penguin. Okay, welcome back to We'll See About That. And our special guest, Joe Baldo, will receive a beautiful fruit gift basket courtesy of our friends of Melissa's Produce. Melissa's is a proud partner of We'll See About That. Be sure to use my VIP code RONSAY when checking out at melissas.com. I'm proud to introduce a man that I've known for, well, I would say in the neighborhood of 30, 35 years. Born in Monterey Park, California, graduated from Loyola Marymount University, and where we first met was in a Dodger fantasy camp in Vero Beach, Florida, which we have stories to tell you about a little bit later on in the conversation. But Joe has had a corporate communications and video production company for about 3 decades, had a lot of success with that. And also, he is now involved with a group called Higher Ground. And this is the work that he's doing today. And I'm going to let Joe get started with telling us a little bit more about Higher Ground and what it serves and what they're doing today. So, Joe, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ron. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. I have, we have a show that is, I think most people think it's probably sports oriented, but it's not a sports talk show. We are eclectic. We like to have a variety of different kinds of guests on here. And because of our association, which brings us to, kind of a new door to open, which is your work with Higher Ground. So give us an understanding of what Higher Ground is and what it's doing today.
Yeah. Higher Ground started basically just with me being so grateful for everything in my life. Um, my wife, my kids, grandkids, our health, our faith, you name it. And it was a parish priest's sermon one Sunday back in '08. And it was centered around the verse, to those much has been given, much is expected. Um, it just kind of it hit me. I had heard that verse before, but never hit me like that. And I knew that I needed to do a whole lot more for people. Didn't know who, didn't know how, just knew that I needed to do it. And that verse put me in a search mode, and that mode took me through, soup kitchens and homeless shelters. And it was a homeless man that told me that I needed to go to prison.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. I laughed and I said, okay. And I said, it's a great idea. I really appreciate your suggestion. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh heck no, I am never doing that. And for about 3 weeks, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I thought about it and I thought, what a hypocrite am I? I told God that I'm wide open to do whatever service needs to be done, but somehow I drew a line in the sand and said, I'm not doing that. So, based based out of just I don't know, humility for not being a man of my word, um, I investigated it, and of course, it was intriguing and interesting and somewhat exciting. So, long story short, I went through the courses so I could be certified, and I ended up in prison ministry, and that led me to juvenile hall. I was shocked at the stories of the young people shared with me. I think most of us live in a bubble, and my bubble was burst, and I began to understand um, the challenges that these people face. When people live in poverty, they don't have many choices, and unfortunately, the choices that somehow become the quickest ones that they gravitate towards are gangs, drugs, and prostitution. And prostitution, of course, leads to human trafficking. And anyways, after 2.5 years in the hall, learning these things from these youth, um, and Ron, I think you probably know the definition of insanity, right? Um, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these kids would come through the doors at juvenile hall, and they'd be there for a couple, 3 months, do their sentence. They'd leave, and we'd see them back 2 or 3 weeks later. And understand, I didn't work there; I was just a volunteer. And this went on, like I said, for 2.5 years, and I knew that I needed to work with these kids, as they say it, on the outs, right? Homies on the outs, they call themselves, and uh, and it was incredible. I can only tell you that some of these stories these kids were sharing with me, which I thought some of them were embellishing, to say the least, it was all true. Um, and I experienced firsthand gangs, drugs, and prostitution. And
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you. There are too many of these stories that are real life happenings.
Mhm.
Let's define Higher Ground. Your family services. It's a holistic youth development organization. What are some of the things that you provide? And I know that you, back in 2013, you secured a 4-acre lot, a park in downtown Anaheim to
Yeah.
provide services and provide safe space for youth. And you also, a few years later, developed a 6 university partnerships integrating the services. Tell us a little bit more about how your support comes into being and who those companies or individuals might be.
Yeah. I The amount of kids grew to be so large that I couldn't go to their apartment complexes. And so I just asked them, whether they were in Anaheim or Santa Ana or Garden Grove, where's your nearest park? Where's a big open space where we can play ball? And I'll bring the food. And that was the start of Higher Ground, actually. And I'd show up at a park. It was Madison Park in Santa Ana, for example, and just a ton of kids would come, and we'd play soccer, and then we'd play baseball, and it was great. And we'd eat pizza or sub sandwiches or whatever. And the idea was for me to bring some of my friends, which some of my camp friends and Dodger Town West, which is as we call the league here in LA,
Mm-hmm.
um, they would join me on a certain afternoon in a certain park in a certain city. And they were just positive role models. And they'd play soccer and they'd play baseball and they'd eat pizza with us. And the kids would gravitate towards somebody, either the way they looked or the way they talked or whatever. And it was in that eating time that was that special time where we could communicate, and we'd ask the kids questions and say, how can we help you? And anyways, so that's how it all started. And then Anaheim was again one of the cities. I was in a certain park there, and the mayor and some of the city staff saw what was going on, and they said, "Hey, you know what? We need this in Anaheim, and we want you to be here every day, not just one afternoon a week." And I said, "Well, I can't do that. I've got other cities and hundreds of other kids." And so, long story short, they put their money where their mouth was, and they said, "How about you select a park, and that'll be the home for Higher Ground, and you don't have to go traveling around. All the kids can come to Higher Ground." And sounded good to me. No charge, and uh, and so with that, that's how that happened. It was by the grace of God that they saw what we were doing was so powerful and impactful. Um, about a year into having all the kids in the park and playing sports and feeding them, but also trying to do other things with them like homework help and whatever it is they need, right? Chapman University uh, found out what we were doing, and so they sent a couple of their sociology professors, and they did a study on us. And then they introduced me to their then chancellor, but now he's the president, Daniele Strupa. And it was Daniele that said, "I believe Higher Ground has so much potential and is so dynamic that we'd like to incorporate it into our curriculum." And I was blown away. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. So please understand, as I'm sharing this story with you, I had nothing to do with this. It was not my idea. I didn't ask for a park, and I didn't ask for Chapman to start a Higher Ground class. Um, so you determine how this all happened.
Well, it sounds like you hit the right nerve on a lot of people. It's very interesting that how this thing got started and developed in the time that you've been able to put forth on this. And we're going to return back with Joe Baldo and learn more about Higher Ground right after this message. Stay with us. interesting stuff.
Yeah, very nicely done.
Sometimes your efforts are rewarded in strange ways. Yeah, that's fascinating that they were able to support you in that manner.
Greatly.
All right, gentlemen, here we go for number 2. This is going to be 12 minutes. 12 minutes in and out. Stand by.
Hello, Ron Save. Okay, we're back with Joe Baldo, and we're going to learn a little bit more about what Joe is involved with today, called Higher Grounds. And I want to talk a little bit about your programs and services, Joe. It says here that HG, which is Higher Ground, provides comprehensive support for at-risk youths aged 7 to 17 and their families, including, and there's a number of things here, academic tutoring and literacy programs, STEM education, youth development and membership programs, arts and music therapy, and a few others, all at no cost. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, yeah. We cannot charge for anything because if we do, our target audience wouldn't come because they can't afford it. So everything needs to be free of charge. So, it starts with something as simple as a mom hearing about the program and signing her kids up. And we find out what they like to do. We offer anything and everything that's fun for the kids. So, music, dance, art, cheer, taekwondo, video production, photography, um, uh, gardening, cooking, baking, you name it.
Free meals.
Yeah, a lot of free food.
Yeah.
Yeah, these kids need food. So do their parents, and so we do that. And once they start playing sports or whatever it is they decide to do, they're doing this with positive role models. And there are 6 universities that have incorporated us into their curriculum. So, for example, this semester we have 107 um, interns from
Wow.
6 colleges, and we keep a 4-to-1 ratio. So we've got over 400 kids,
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah.
and they fall in love with these wonderful college students, and then they don't care what they're doing. Doesn't matter if they just want to be with these college students, and so when you think about it, it's the opposite of the allure, if you will, of what a gang has to offer. Right? There's negative role models that come in and say, "Hey, you know what they promise. I don't have to get into that."
Right.
But now they're with positive role models and they fall in love with them and they want to do what they do and they want to be them. And so they aspire to be so much more than they ever thought they could be. We open up a world of possibilities for them and make them understand that every life has a purpose and they need to find their purpose.
Yeah, well, you're giving them an opportunity to find a way out. And, I see here also that you have a family wellness center for mental health counseling as well.
Yeah, that's one of our crown jewels. So we have, I've been purchasing for, I think, since 2014, used modular buildings. Many of them are classrooms, but there's others that were offices. And so we've converted them into specifically the one we're talking about. It's our family wellness center. And so inside it, there are small rooms that are therapy rooms. And so not only the kids, but also their parents can come in. We have mostly moms. Part of the problem is that there are not a lot of dads, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they will come in. So we've got, I want to say 9, maybe 10 marriage and family therapists, but also a lot of social workers. And so they're coming in and doing case management work. And it's incredible. I don't know how else to say it. These people are professionals and they know what to do, and they turn around their lives. I hate it when someone says you're changing lives. I don't think we're changing people or their lives, but we're transforming them into something much better than they would ever have dreamed of.
Joe, I'm sure, through that counseling center, a lot of these kids and their parents from these disparate communities are dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of PTSD, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, there's something called ACEs, adverse childhood effects, and you take a test, and then you determine how many points you've added up. And most of our kids are severe ACEs. And it's because in the home there was abuse. Maybe they watched mom's boyfriend beat her up. Maybe there's drugs in the home, uh, gang involvement, child abuse, and all these things add up. Food insecurity. That is one of the points, if you will, on the point system. So there's a wide range of things, and it's sad, but it's correctable. And that's what higher ground. That's what our mission is.
You mentioned human trafficking. You have a program over there.
Yeah,
You have a task force.
yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that too.
yeah. Again, it was another one of those things that I didn't see it coming. I certainly didn't ask for it, but the Orange County Human Trafficking Task Force and the CSEC Steering Committee. So that CSEC, CSEC,
Mm-hmm.
stands for Commercially Sexually Exploited Children.
Mm.
They came to us in late 2018 and said, Joe, you know a whole lot now about life here. And I'd like to ask you, what is the number one fastest growing criminal activity here in Orange County? I said, well, that's an easy one. That's gangs and drugs. And they said, no, sir, it's human trafficking.
Oh,
And I was so ignorant. I said, I'm sorry now, human what is that? And so they gave me an education that when I went home that night, I wish I didn't know the things that they had taught me. But they challenged me because we have had such a robust and still do uh, gang and drug intervention and prevention program, but they wanted us to do a human trafficking prevention program. So again, I'm so blessed to have these relationships with the universities. So I called Daniele Strupa from Chapman University and then Fram Vergi, president of Cal State Fullerton. Those are the first two calls, and I said, I need your help. This is what we're being tasked to do. We need some highly intelligent people in criminology, sociology, child psychology, and they provided them. They just
wow.
opened up the doors, and we created this incredible program. And and then the next thing we had to do is was to train college students because remember we're peer to peer. We want we want kids who are maybe 3 or 4 years older that kids look up to those people that are 3 or 4 years older. We want those to be those mentors. And so we go in with the youngest looking college students into junior highs and high schools. And these schools are opening their doors. And we're talking about all the vulnerabilities. So the things that suck these kids into would be low self-esteem, not understanding what a healthy relationship is like. They're used to the unhealthy and the toxic, but they don't know what healthy is. Um, Responsible social media. They're putting stuff on social media for the perpetrators to just lap up, and they're putting a target on their heads. And these kids don't even know it. And so these are the things that we're teaching them, and it's all very interactive, and so it's not a lecture at all. And these kids respond. They want to be part of this program.
Joe, can you expand a little bit more on the damage that social media is doing to these kids? I mean, we've seen initiatives where certain school districts want to ban phones from school. Some parents don't like that. What do you think that the solution is to that?
You know, the idea of social media as far as communicating, wonderful. But but all of the side effects, if you will, I mean, we've got kids that are committing suicide because they don't feel worthy because they look at other people on there and they're like, why isn't my life like theirs? Now, understand that everybody's going to put all the good stuff on there, but they're not going to put anything bad about themselves or their lives. And these kids are believing that they're the ones that are screwed up or damaged or have this terrible life, and everybody else is having a ball. And so psychologically, it's very damaging. But then when you get into things like, I'm just going to pick on a couple of girls' names like Debbie and Sally. And Debbie goes on there and says, we're at the Brea Mall and we're going to go to, I don't know, whatever restaurant is there. And they say who's going to be there and what time they're going to be there. And the perpetrators are just reading this going, well, let's just go and figure out what we can do with them. And they find out what their vulnerabilities are, like they don't have money or they don't have any self-esteem, and they just whittle away at that. No self-esteem, easy. You're beautiful. You should be a model. And these girls, they just fall apart like, oh my God, I'm being discovered. And the next thing you know, they're being invited to parties and they're getting all the hair, makeup, and nails done. And then maybe the second or third party in, it's like, we need for you to do some things here because look what we've done for you. And now it's time for payback.
Yeah, there's a lot of manipulation going on with that, and it's easily to persuade these kids to go in the wrong direction. I agree. It seems like there's more need for more scrutiny as well over there. What do you think some of the bigger challenges you faced in the early years of building higher ground?
Mm. Mm. Wow, that's a tough question. You said these questions were going to be tough.
Answer it how you see it.
Yeah. Well, an ongoing. I'm gonna be current with you. There are several schools that we are in. There are even more schools that we are not in, and understand that maybe a superintendent of a school district, or a principal, or the health teacher or gym teacher that we typically go into their class, they're thinking, okay, so let me get this straight. There's going to be college kids coming in, and they're going to be talking about sex slaves and sex in general. And then the kids are going to go home and talk to their parents. And then the parents are going to call us and complain and say, well, what are you doing? So then the answer is no, you're not, we don't want you here. We don't want to talk about that stuff. And it's exactly what is needed that they're saying no to. These kids need to learn about proper social media and they're worth more than any amount of millions of dollars. Um, and they need to learn about relationships, what's right and what's wrong.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to be back with Joe Baldo and learn more about higher ground. And Joe, I want you to think about between the break here about let's move to a positive side. Do you have a success story or two that you'd like to talk about? And we'll return with Joe Baldo with higher ground right after this. Stay tuned.
Very nicely done, gentlemen. Very nicely done indeed. All right, here we go for the number 4, last one with the guest. This is going to be 14 minutes with a quick branded feature at the top. Stand by. And we are back. We'll see about that with the legend, the champion, the MVP, Ron Say. I am Mike Gary, and this week in Dodger history, presented by BFF Financial, 1979. In Puerto Rico, Willie Mays, in the second game of an annual exhibition game to benefit a youth sports program started by the late Roberto Clemente, pilots a mini squad of the Mets to an 8-3 wins over the Pirates. After a 5-3 victory in Game 1, New York manager Joe Torre and many players returned to Florida to play the Dodgers in the Grapefruit League.
Well, I can certainly say thank you to that. My guy Willie Mays does Roberto a stand-up thing. I played in Puerto Rico. I played for Santurce. Both of those players played for Santurce. Both of them were champions as well. So, good work on that, guys. Joe, I want to return now to tell us a success story that kind of warms your heart and maybe ours as well.
Yeah, I think the best stories I can tell you are the kids that have come in and keep in mind we're a prevention program, so we want to get them as young as we can because we want them again to fall in love and to kind of fall in line with the right way to live. So we'll start with second graders, and so we'll get them in the second grade, and we now have from our first class of second graders and third graders, they're now some of them are now our leaders. And
Mm-hmm.
there's one in particular, and she's just, they're all amazing. But this one in particular is just the challenges that she had with her family and the wonderful young lady that she is today, and the way she leads a group of younger kids. It's awesome. I don't know any other word to describe it. Another thing that again is just we're blessed to have experienced is that some of the young people that I met and spoke with, had conversations with back in 2008, 9, and 10 in juvenile hall. Some of them have gotten out and they work for us now.
Oh, that's
And
great. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just, you know, when I met these kids, the guys particularly put on the air that they were so tough and nothing bothered them and they feared nothing. And after 7 or 8 visits, took a few weeks, it came right down to they were scared out of their minds.
I think
And
they probably do that out of survival. I mean, they kind of have to do that, I would think, in the area that they're with and the people that they're with at those
yeah,
times. The weak won't survive that.
yeah, yeah. Other success stories, and because I do want to get on to baseball, um, uh, we've got programs for our parents. So we've got a standing room only for ESL classes starting at 8 in the morning, but we've got cooking classes and sewing classes and it's workforce development. And so these moms who already have a full-time job still maybe don't pay the bills and so they need something else that they can do at home in their spare time or whatever. And so we've got at least 8 or 9 moms that have their little seamstress company going on now, and they're making decent money. And I mean,
Oh,
God
that's
bless them. So and they didn't know how to sew a year ago. So those are the kind of things that we're doing for the parents. And wherever we see a need, we've got to somehow find a way to find that solution to help them out. And that's how Higher Ground continues to thrive and grow.
How do we reach you? How does someone who's interested in getting involved with this reach you?
Sure. Yeah. It's pretty simple. It's Higher Ground, then OC for Orange County, .org, not .net or .com, but .org. So I'll repeat it. Higher Ground, OC .org.
And I assume that not only people can volunteer and help, but also contribute financial help as well, Joe.
Yeah, sure. We'll take money. No
All right,
problem,
sweet.
Mike.
Well, check it out. Go to highergroundoc.org and throw a little something in the tip jar, folks.
All right.
There you go. But just check us out. I mean, there's so many awesome things, and no matter what page you read, it's like, wow, that's pretty wonderful.
Well, I just want to commend you for not only having the understanding of where you could be of help, but the work that you've done in between. It sounds like it's come a long way since way back when, and now you're serving and providing a lot of opportunities for young kids in need. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the acknowledgement, and yeah, I give it all to God, as I've already shared with you and proven. None of this was my idea.
Yeah.
So
All
it just,
right, let's move on. I know that you want to talk a little bit about baseball, but
yeah, dude.
you have been, I think you came into my life maybe 30 some years ago,
Yeah.
and it was probably in Vero Beach at the fantasy camps, the Dodger fantasy camps. So you got the Taj Mahal of fantasy camps, and the work that you did there, the experience that you had, the friends that you made, and the work that you did there. I mean, you were like the team photographer. You took pictures of everything. You made it available for all the campers. Tell us a little bit about what went on there.
So again, another gift from God. My wife and children gave me the gift of fantasy camp, and it was at Christmas time, and there was the little write up that the 4 infielders were going to be there, and Reggie Smith, and I mean, I can't name them all, and including Brooklyn players. I'm like, oh my God. And so I went and had the week of my life. And when I came home, I was telling our close friends, they're like, well, what was it like? And I said, it was like heaven on earth, baseball heaven on earth. And they said, well, how would you equate it? I said, it was better than our honeymoon. I loved it more than our honeymoon. My wife did not like that.
Yeah, I guess
But it was. I had so much fun. It was incredible. I came home and I could barely walk. This was pre 9/11, obviously. And so they were waiting there as you come off the not the tarmac, but whatever it
yeah.
is, uh, the breezeway. and I could hardly walk. I was black and blue all over, the legs, the thighs, the shins. Um, Totally traumatized my body, and I had this huge smile on my face. They took a picture of me. It was pathetic, and uh, and I told her I got to go back. These guys that I met, they're not only are they awesome, but they're saying, "Oh, well, this is my third camp or this is my 10th camp." And my wife said, "No, this is a one-time deal." And I said, "I don't think so." And she said, "We can't afford it." I think it was $3,500. She said, "We can't afford for you to do this every year." Well, we get the pictures, we get the video, we get the trading cards, and I watched the video and it was substandard. If on a scale of 1 to 10, the camp was a 12 and the video was about a 2. And and I thought I can help them. And I really wasn't thinking about what was to come. I was just thinking, I can help them. I can make a much better video. So I gave a call to the Dodger office, and they had me in down at the stadium, at the executive offices, and I showed them some of the work that we did. And at that time, it was all corporate communications, but all I could do was pull things like when somebody would go on a corporate retreat and they'd have meetings in the morning, but then they'd play golf or have a tennis tournament in the afternoon or whatever. And so I showed the action of that and then the interviews that we did and some of the pranks that we did. And they said, "You got the job." And so, as you know, Ron, every February and November we had a camp, and so I was there twice a year in Vero Beach. But then I'd also go for a week to be with you and guys like you, the coaches and whatnot that were part of the fantasy camp for a week spring training. So,
Well, there's no question that fantasy camp is a very special place, and it is heaven for the campers.
yeah,
100 of those guys went home the same way you did, with bumps and bruises and whatever
some
else.
worse.
But
Yes, some in
you know,
cast.
you introduced a new dimension to the camp, though. Because now you're taking pictures, and now you're doing the videos of the games as well. So when they would go into the lounge at
Yep.
the end of the day, they could watch their game back on the TV over here, the flat screen in the corner, and then another team could watch their game over here. So, and then all the highlight films and that you had from the plays of the day and whatever else we had going on back at that time. So, yeah, it was a big upgrade, and a lot of guys I think really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching them enjoy it. But speaking of enjoyment, so for whoever is listening right now or watching, if you can imagine going in there for the first time, meeting four heroes of yours, Garvey State, Lopes, and Russell, and 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 being able to play ball with them, and then, oh yeah, by the way, Ron hits a home run in one of the games, and I'm like, he's still got it. This guy can still play. And it was just incredible. And it was, I mean, just to be with them was a thrill, but to be able to be engaged in a game with them, it was heaven. I don't know how else to say it, Ron. So I'm going to thank you again. I know I've thanked you before for all that you brought to the camp. Um, your talent, your personality, your skills. You added a lot, as did all of those guys, and you all made it very special for us campers.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of fun for everybody, and it gave us a chance to, give back to some of the people who supported us over the years and get to rub elbows and take the field and put on your uniforms and all that the same together and enjoy a game of baseball. And yeah, I do remember that. That was my last at bat, the home run that I hit. I think I was 53 or 54.
You hit a home run at age 54?
Yeah, he did. It was awesome.
Yeah, we had a Japanese pitcher. How odd in today's
Fumioka.
game. The pitcher of the camp. He won the Cy Young Award for the camp, and now we're playing in the camper instructor game. And each team gets to play 2 innings against the Dodgers, and so I get to face the Cy Young Award winner, and he spun a curveball up there.
I was just about to
and
say,
it's-
hanging curve.
Yeah, hanging curveball went deep to left field, and it was Vin Scully call. There's a high drive, and it's gone. But yeah, that I decided to retire on that one.
That's
I
ending
wanted
on a
to-
high note right there.
That was a mic drop, huh?
Yeah, that was it. But anyway, Joe, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our show today. You're doing really great work. I'm sure there's a lot of young people out there who are extremely elated and pleased at the opportunity for them to improve their lives.
Yeah, and for more information, please check out highergroundoc.org. That's highergroundoc.org, highergroundoc.org for more information and maybe a little donation there.
All right. Joe Baldo, ladies and gentlemen, Higher Ground. Take a look at it. He's doing great work out there. Joe, thank you again so much, and it's been a great pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, the pleasure's all been mine, quite honestly. So thank you, Ron. Thank you, Mike. I had a ball.
Thanks so much, Joe. All right, there you have it. And please stay tuned. We'll be right back. We'll see about that right after this message.
Very nicely done, Joe. That's fantastic. You're doing great work over there.
Yeah.
God bless
Thank you. I think I talked too much. Ron didn't get enough.
No. You're the show. I'm glad you a lot of really good positive information out there, and yeah, it is unfortunate that these kids can try to be doing the right thing, and you've got so many predators out there. Yeah. That there's a lot of false information out there, and it really does need to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Joe. I'm going to reach out to you for your address for your fruit basket.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the fruit too. Can you do me a favor? Is there any way you can email me a screenshot of both Ron and I on the screen together?
All right, so stand by real fast.
And would you mind if I did a post?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
I think that would be cool. Please, along with the email, give me the exact name. If it's just simply the Ron Say podcast.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. I'm going to get a screenshot right now. So just why don't you guys both look in the camera real fast?
Okay.
Just get one where my nose doesn't look as big as it normally does.
All right, let me do one more real fast. Just everybody look at the camera. Eyes open. All right, got it.
Okay, we're good.
Do we need someone talking so it doesn't look like we're both staring at each other?
I don't know, Mike. What do you think?
I'll send you the video as the raw video, and I'll send you the screenshot right here too that you can share on social media, and then I will also send you the links to when the podcast gets posted.
Well, I couldn't ask for any more than that, Michael.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Joe. Be well.
Thank you. It really was a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye. Okay, a lot of good work. Good work.
That's a really good screenshot.
Good. I thought I sent you his contact information for the address.
If it's in that VCF you sent me, I'm pretty sure I remember there was the address in there too. Okay.
And you got the notice that Sean Dunston's going to join us?
I did see that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Does that automatically go on the website when you plug them in as guests?
What do you
future guests? On the website?
No, I have nothing to do with your website. I have no control over your website. The only thing that we do is that when the podcast gets posted, it automatically links to your website. But
so it does have a menu over there of all of our guests, right?
Yeah, past guests.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as that's up there.
All right, we can do the open and the close now. We got a good time here.